Hello YouTube, this is Dynamo22 and I'm recording this little intro because the session you're about to watch is part of my preparation for the Grand Champions Festival, the biggest Pokemon tournament in history. And as those of you who've been paying attention might know, that happened like 2 weeks ago. So obviously that kind of begs the question while you're watching it, how did I do in the Grand Champions Festival? And the answer is great. I top cut, but not in the battling portion, in the best dressed competition actually, which is a lot of the reason why I play this game. If we're being honest, that's kind of what motivated me to join the Grand Champions Festival in the first place. Prior to it even being this huge kind of prestigious event, just this part of the competition appealed to me, and so that's why it was on my radar, and I ended up signing up and playing. And as part of being in the top cut, they actually did a video featuring all the teams if you wanted to be a part of that. And that's on Professor Rex's channel. And that's kind of why this video is coming out much later than it was recorded, because I spent my time working on doing an upload to upload my portion of that uh, video. He described it as kind of like assigning us a public speaking homework assignment, which is funny because I was good at school in pretty much everything except for public speaking and doing my homework on time. So it was like my worst nightmare I thought I had left behind, but because I love Pokemon so much, I voluntarily gave myself a public speaking homework assignment. And true to form, I did it at the last second and kind of screwed it up a little bit, but not too bad, and it was, good enough to pass. So if you have any interest in seeing the video as a whole or just my segment in that, like I said, it's on Professor Rex's channel, which I'll try to remember to link in the description below, but otherwise it shouldn't be that hard to find. And as far as the actual battles themselves go, I did go 5-4, which was my goal. It's kind of my standard, slightly above average. In everything I do in life, I strive to be slightly above average, it seems. It's kind of my role is the not the best, but also not the worst, and I'm okay with that. And for for being both, the mixture. Surely, I didn't go through and check the standings of all the other people who top cut the best dress portion, but 5-4 has to be pretty good. There were 10,000 people signed up, 6,000 people showed up and played, and I got, you can see, a little over 1,500. So that's pretty respectable, I would say. And shout out to some of these other Ariados players, by the way. I've interacted with them on Twitter before because I've been spreading a lot of Ariados propaganda there. Since it's been a couple of weeks since I recorded this, the Grand Champions Festival is actually not the only thing I've competed in with this team. There was also the first GC, and I didn't play all my games because there was no points on the line or anything. It was just for pride and stuff. And you can see I got 1652, which is kind of weird. In Scarlet and Violet, my best result was 1600, like in 8 once. I only broke 1600 once. And in those ones, like 1600 was often, top 1,000 in the world. It was top 500 in A for when they switched how the GCs worked to do region specific. And in this one, it was 5,000th place, which in a lot of those Scarlet and Violet GCs, you could go 0-3, and that would get you about 5,000th place. So you can tell there was like 400,000 people signed up for this, which blows out of the water some of the most recent GCs in Scarlet and Violet that I was in. I didn't do, I think, some of the very first ones, so it's hard to compare, end of a game's life cycle to the beginning. But yeah, it was my best GC by points, by a long shot, and not even close to my best GC by placement. But there's nothing on the line, so it's hard to say like if I would have been able to earn points had there been points on the line, because I don't know exactly how it's going to work in Champions. But I'm as proud as you can be of that. However, unlike the Grand Champions Festival, that was not even close to being the best Ariados finish I happen to know. Because in case you've been living under a rock and somehow this is the only VGC video you've watched this week, Ariados finished first place in the GC. Uh, Again, too bad it's not for points. Otherwise, there'd be a lot of points for Ariados, which it could use in its lifetime statistics, I'm sure. But yeah, so shout out to Federico Camporossi, I think is how you. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing the Italian name, but you know who that is if you've followed any amount of VGC at the top level. And yeah, I've been kind of banging the drum because at first I started using Ariados because I liked Ariados, uh, but I kept using it because it's actually, I unironically believe, does valuable things in MA. Like, I went from just, my typical, I like to use kind of meme Pokemon and force them to do something, and I kind of stopped thinking of it as a meme Pokemon about halfway through using it. I felt like it legitimately is a viable pick on certain matchups and for certain comps. Um, well, yeah, so I don't know if other people have slowly been kind of picking up on that, and it feels kind of good to be vindicated, but also means, the surprise factor of Arios is kind of lost a bit. And also the look at me, I'm winning with a silly Pokemon factor is a bit lost, but, I'd kind of rather Arios be respectable than, you know, have the whatever the term is for glazing yourself unnecessarily, I might add. For I went 5-4 with Ariados. Oh, no one else could do that. Oh, I bet they could. But it's fun, and that's why I do it. So without further ado, I hope you enjoyed the actual video I recorded, and thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time. What's up, Internet? I'm back, and as per usual, after, my 6 month break between uploads, a lot has happened in that time. And this time, there's a big one. Pokemon Champions has released, and this is my first video since then. And I'm not gonna lie, Champions is kind of disappointing in terms of the platform itself. It doesn't really have a lot of the things we'd hoped for, like, for example, battle replays. Ever since the death of the Versus Recorder, there's been no way to have the same technology from 2010 when I started. But yeah, so that's kind of why we're on Showdown today. I have plenty of clips. The Switch lets you record 30 seconds. So at some point, I'd like to do something with those, but it's kind of hard to make something out of 30-second clips. So to kick off, I'm going to be on Showdown, and the one good thing about Champions that I do like, aside from the format, I think Reg MA is very fun. I'm not sad about the lack of like Pokemon and items other than pre-evolutions. Uh, those, at least the items, are for sure coming back eventually. People kind of were up in their britches about that for no real reason. They were just, I think, mad about the other stuff. And sometimes Pokemon people on Twitter have silly opinions, so I'm not saying they're all fake, but I'm not worried about the lack of items or the limited move pool. I think those are good things. I love the format of MA, so we're still having fun, even if, Champions, I hope for more, and I know we're getting more, but some of the things that aren't in are things they could be in and they just don't want to, which makes me think that they will continue not wanting to in the future. But again, the format is good, and so I'm going to play it and have fun. But since I hadn't given my thoughts on Champions on this channel yet, I figured I'd start with that. But again, the one thing I love about Champions is they do have Pokemon specific titles for every Pokemon in the game. If you bring them to the battle and win, you can't even do the classic cheese technique of VGC is bring six, pick four. So you can literally win with a five Pokemon team and put the stupidest Mon in the game, whatever you think is the worst Mon in your opinion. There's lots of Mons that fall in that category. You can put a Magikarp on your team, win with the other five, and say, look, I won with a Magikarp team. But no, you do have to bring them to the battle to get credit for winning with them in Champions. And so, looking at the roster, the first thing I thought was, I have to be the Ariados guy. I mean, I'm the Typhlosion guy, so I got that one pretty easily, but there's no differentiating between Hisuian Typhlosion and regular Typhlosion. So Hisuian Typhlosion is like a legitimately good Pokemon in these kind of low power formats usually, because it's immune to Fake Out. So it's not that unusual to see Hisuian Typhlosion on the ladder, and there's no difference in the title if you won the games with the Ghost version versus I won with the Johto version. So it's not much of a flex to have the Typhlosion Admirer, even though that's what I'm running because I am a Typhlosion Admirer. I'd run the Quilava Admirer if it was in the game, but like I said, no pre-evos. So the next best thing on the roster for me was easily Ariados. I've been wanting to run Ariados since it was added in the DLC in Scarlet and Violet, but I had a hard time finding an Ariados team that would do something. Like it has a couple interesting options, notably Rage Powder, which is worse Follow Me, but Follow Me is so good that even worse Follow Me is pretty good. And even on a underwhelming defensive Pokemon in terms of stats like Ariados, you can make it do something, which is what you want when using an unconventional low tiered thought of Pokemon. But more than that, not only is Ariados in the game because it's in Legends of ZA, so it's not that surprising that it would be in the game, but also it got fairly significant buffs, which of all the buffs going into champions, it's not even a new generation technically, but they did do a lot of buffing and nerfing. Ariados usually you wouldn't think would be the type of Pokemon to get targeted buffs, but not only did they buff its signature move, Toxic Thread, from -1 speed to -2 speed, which makes it semi-usable, but somehow still not like one of the best speed control moves in the game, which Ariados learns like literally every speed control option in the game. So lucky for it, it does get the options that are better than uh, Toxic Thread, but it makes it sad that you still don't use Toxic Thread. But anyways, so its signature move got a direct buff intentionally for Ariados, but also First Impression got a pretty significant buff, which is great for the bug types because that's well known to be the worst type in the game, and bug types always need more love. But also they added it to Ariados's move pool, which I don't know, it might be the only thing currently in Chambers that learns First Impression, so that might also be an Ariados specific buff. But letting it learn First Impression at all is a very significant buff, especially a 100 base power version. So that's what I've been running on the ladder, and I got to 10 wins pretty quickly and easily. And so, like, it turns out Ariados with all these buffs isn't even as laughable as people usually think when they think of Ariados. And so I'm sure a decent amount of people have the Ariados Admirer. I thought I was going to be, you know, cool and different with the Ariados Admirer, but it's actually not that hard to get, surprisingly, in this game. So I went even further. I've got the Ariados 50 win streak. I got to Master Ball with Ariados. And I kept going. I got all the way up to 2K Elo using pretty much only Ariados. I used a couple other teams, in Pokeball at the beginning when I was starting out. But once I started using the Ariados team, I kind of got hooked, and it's one of the only teams I've been running for the last several battles. The other team I tried was a Castrum team, which was actually so bad I lost points with it, so all the points are definitely from the Ariados. It was much easier to use Ariados after using Castrum just because it felt like unlocking a whole nother Pokemon. The difference between them is so crazy. But anyways, all this is to say, I've pretty much only been playing First Impression Ariados on the ladder, but there is a very big tournament coming up this weekend, the Grand Champions Festival, which I'm sure many of you have heard of, and I've not practiced any quote-unquote real teams because not only is First Impression kind of a best of one closed team gimmick thing because it loses to Protect, and a lot of people don't know that Ariados gets First Impression because it literally didn't until Champions, and also you probably wouldn't have even run First Impression Ariados that often, even if it did. But you can do major damage to neutral hits that aren't bulky, and you can like OHKO a lot of psychic types in this game with First Impression that they just don't know they're in danger of. But a formal tournament like this is best of three open team sheet, so you can't really cheese people that way. And also, the team I'm using is literally slapped together almost on the first day. It has a Pikachu because Pikachu is the one exception to the no pre-evos rule, so that's kind of my protest inclusion of using Pikachu. And so I picked that with, you pick your starters and champions, and Pikachu's one of the options. And they give you the default Pikachu team, and on that is Azumarill, and that Azumarill is also on the team I've been using. So it's literally 1/3 of the team is just like the default team, and I've been able to win with it, but it's clearly not optimized in any way, shape, or form. And in a more serious environment than just closed team sheet ladder, I was afraid to be a bit exposed. And I do want to try for this. It's a big tournament, and it's a lot of people are participating, and I'd like to just see how it goes if I'm taking it somewhat seriously while still including my uh, not manifesto, whatever. This is a word that starts with M. That like I don't want to say like your ninja way, but in English, there's a term for that I'm blanking on for some reason. But all that is to say, there's actually someone better than me with Ariados out there. Shockingly enough, I thought surely if I ladder to 2K with Ariados, I will be the Ariados guy. And I might not be the best on the ladder, but I'll be the best Ariados player on the ladder. That's not even close to true. There's someone who's hit 2,300 with Ariados. And so they're featured on PokeGame's channel. If you haven't seen that, that's kind of how I found out. But also, I'm on Twitter and I tweet about using Ariados a lot. So like, I've kind of been uh, the algorithm has fed me other Ariados players because there are some out there. Ariados is a cool Pokemon, and apparently, I'm not the only fan, of course. And the thing about 2,300 on the ladder is even if it's better in closed team sheet, it's almost impossible to get that high if the team isn't structurally sound. So, because all I've played so far pretty much is Ariados, I don't want to just switch to a whole new team. So, I'm going to try and bring Ariados to the Grand Champions Festival. But I would also like to uh, use a good version of Ariados. So, I'm going to try learning this guy's Ariados team and seeing if, because the Ariados set is much different than the way I've been using it, my kind of default instincts might be a bit off. So I'm going to see. Hopefully, this might be a rough session, but we can learn together how to use this guy's Ariados team. And assuming I feel good by, was it Saturday? It's in 3 days. The term's in 3 days. Like I said, I haven't done any real serious practice. So we're getting some content and some practice at the same time. This person has left, so I'm going to start the timer so that I can get the default win if they don't come back. And in the meantime, that'll give me some time to try and think. Like I said, I don't really know how to use this team other than the fact that these are all somewhat standardly good Pokemon, so presumably they will do things if I use them correctly. And we're just going to kind of experiment and see what we can get to happen with these Pokemon. Yeah, this battle, the person is disconnected, so there may not be anything here. But yeah, I am signed up for Indy. That was kind of a whole thing because it's the first Champions Regional, and I have my best friend moved to Indianapolis after college, and so I only get to see him every so often. So it was an excuse to visit him, and of course, I want to play in more regionals. I've had so much fun with VGC. I'm actually kind of hooked, and yeah, unfortunately, because it's the first Champions tournament, it filled up instantly, and I got a spot, so I'm definitely going because it was so hard to get. I can't possibly ignore that. But my brothers, who I usually travel with, did not, so I haven't figured out my travel plans in that regard. But I have to talk them into coming as a spectator or something. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do to handle something like that. But anyway, I will hopefully be at Indy. Who knows? I may be bringing Ariados to Indy if this goes well, or I may completely not. But I'll still have the Ariados title, so I can at least flex on people in that regard. Um, yeah. So I don't know what the default answer into these like Charizard teams are, because obviously we're weak to flying on this. We're die to fire on this. We do have thick fat, which I assume does something. But this thing's only attacking move is self-destruct, which seems like it could go wrong pretty easily. And again, we're just going to get some games in. I'm going to try and learn this team as I go because even though it is also an Ariados team, it is quite different from the one I'm running. So it's low ladder. Hopefully, we can win and learn at the same time. And if we cannot, then it is what it is. He is Sash, Rock Slide, Charizard Y. Man, people really love their Rock Slide in this format. That's for certain. Uh, he doesn't have Protect, so we are just gonna blow up our own guy. Maybe, but we're gonna switch to Basket Legion. Surely, no one in their right mind would ever Solar Beam and Incineroar. So we're going to do the funny play on turn one. We are going to get intimidated, and we failed to explode. Now, again, this is part of it being open team sheet, is they know I have self-destruct, which, this team was originally used on the ladder, where they maybe are not suspecting self-destruct Snorlax to be something that's coming in. But that's why we're doing this session, so we can find out whether this still works like this. And hopefully it does, because I said the tournament's in 3 days, and I haven't done any real playing at all, but I think we should be able to make this work. This is not of a dark type move, so we're just going to stay in and wave crash into the slot. He only has, what, one Pokemon we haven't seen? Yeah, so with the light screen, that's not a resist in any way, shape, or form. So he only has 2 turns of Tailwind left, and hopefully we can stall those out now that the Whimsicott is gone and can't set it back up. He does have Earthquake. He doesn't have He does have Protect. So, I think. I think we just Parting Shot, Protect. I would like to switch to reset these Intimidate. He just Earthquake's his own guy. He does not care. So, unfortunately, we are still going to be intimidated, but we do have Floette left, which we can stall out his last turn of Tailwind, and then hopefully that's enough to do something. Unfortunately, if he Solar Beams into the Basket Legion here, this could be a big problem. But we're going to click Last Respects and see what we can do. And, maybe an Earthquake's coming here. So we should live that pretty easily. So a Heat Wave, we did not live that easily at all. And he does Solar Beam. So maybe I should have just attacked there. But I don't think we had much we could have done here either way, because the light screen is still up. And I'm guessing the Charizard is faster than us. Yeah, and so we take, as you can see, a lot from the Earthquake. And so we're never winning a 2v1 there. So we got to find some other way. Like I said, I tried to explode on the Charizard to start, but that did not work out. I think we can lead the Floette. And let's see, yeah, he does have the Heat Wave. And I'm assuming he also has Moonblast. So let's try Floette Incineroar. And Snorlax takes the hits best from the Charizard, but again, only blowing up or yawning is maybe not the best we can do here. Let's bring the Ariados just to see. Again, this is not really the matchup for Ariados, nor is this the 4 that Ariados would probably want to go with on most occasions. But I think, it's worth trying out the various techs in this. Again, if we lose, it's just points. It's not that big a deal. And I assume he's going to. No, he does not. He's not set up Tailwind this time. He sets up Light Screen. So we do get rid of that without the Tailwind. Light Screen might be still too much for us to handle, given what we have on this team in terms of damage. But I do think this is a better situation than we were game 1, so let's see if we can get out of this one. If we can't, then that's probably a bad sign. But we do get faked out here. No, he goes for the Rock Slide, Chekhov's gun earlier that I mentioned that he has Rock Slide Charizard Y for whatever reason. And we're just Moonblast and Parting Shot, I guess. So we do lower attack and special attack with, I don't know if Floet can take that. That's a pretty strong attack, but we definitely can't with a critical hit, which is tough to see. But Ariados, you will have to sack yourself to a Flare Blitz to get the recoil. I could have gone into the Basket Legion, but I figured I'd rather keep the Sash. That might have been a mistake because I don't know how we're getting out of this one, but uh, we do still have the Sash, so hopefully that'll do something. And I'm going to. I don't have a dark. Oh, I do have. As I say, I swear it's had a dark move. So we're just kind of stalling turns right now, and we did at least take a KO, so it's hard for him to pivot a little bit. Um, yeah, he's got the Garchomp in the back again. This is not the best scenario I've ever been in. Uh, this felt like a really hard matchup, but again, this is my first time ever playing with a team, so it's possible I'm just playing it entirely wrong. And yeah, we knew the Incineroar was never attacking or anything there. So we do get to the super buffed last respects at least, and we can stall out his Sun, which maybe will help us win. Uh, we might die to Rock Slide, which is going to be kind of embarrassing, but he only has Flare Blitz out of Sun to be able to hit us now. And hopefully we can tank some sort of. I think Rock Slide Flare Blitz will just kill us, unfortunately, but we do have as good a scenarios. He goes for the Solar Beam without the Sun, so he does no damage. And so, yeah, the 15% from Rock Slide would have mattered there. But now we can Wave Crash into him. Low ladder games, we've successfully, gotten the gift. And I'm glad to just play a game 3 just because, like I said, the matchup here has not been good. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing here because what I've been doing feels incorrect. But I don't know. You don't see a lot of Charizard Y Gengar double megas, I would suspect. But that could be entirely wrong too. I haven't done a full meta report on anything, but yeah, this is obviously Perish because it's open team sheet. I can see that, but I don't know if this lead matchup can get out of this. Obviously, I've got the parting shot, which is very important for not dying to Perish. And Ariados, I'm sad to say, you may. Interesting decision by the opponent. Uh, I guess because I have the parting shot, uh, they weren't gonna try the Perish mode there, but we are going to set up the Toxic Spikes now. They did unfortunately go into the third Pokemon. Oh, maybe this will be the Perish, because Gengar can absorb them and lost Levitate, but if it comes out, then the other Pokemon in the back will have to switch into the Toxic Spikes before the Gengar can switch back in. Otherwise, I say this isn't the worst matchup for these two Pokemon, and I think I'll just Flare Blitz and String Shot so we can Throat Chop on a future turn, perhaps. So obviously the problem with the first two games was I didn't lead Ariados, which is always what you're supposed to do into any team in the game. Ariados beats everything. Uh, this is a well-known fact, and it really. I got intimidated twice. I was like, how did it take so little from the Flare Blitz with no other modifiers? But there were other modifiers, and I think you just go for Struggle Bug here because yeah, the Gengar can be uh, I don't know what I was gonna say there. The Gengar with the Tailwind at -2 speed is still gonna be outspeeding us. I think. Okay, so he does have Protect. They're more than likely just going to double Protect here, but I guess we still click the String Shot in case something else happens. Uh, They did switch out into Incineroar, so we get a little bit of chip at least. And yeah, the Incineroar gets poisoned, so even though Ariados is in danger of getting trapped here, uh, in fact, we will almost certainly get trapped here because he can now fake out Incineroar, and then he will double protect on the last turn because Ariados is not really a threat. Uh, we will click, more struggle bugs. Oh, here comes the Whimsicott, and yes, I'm sure this will uh, go back into the Gengar. I almost clicked Toxic Spikes there, which would have been real funny to get them back up, because he has that low health Palafin in the back, which well, I guess if he goes for the classic double protect here, which is pretty likely, yeah, so I can parting shot and toxic spikes, and he can only fake out one, which means yeah, I either get the parting shot off or I get the toxic spikes up, which is you know for 14% Palafin is very important. And he stalled out his own tailwind and his light screen after losing the other guy. So I think this is a good position. I think we got what we wanted out of that. Like sometimes it looks like you lost because you got perished, but he took way too much damage out of that. And so I think we should be pretty good to go here. Gotta remember to click the Mega Evolution button, but he doesn't. He has Sludge Bomb. Adaptability Aqua Jet can do 40%, right? Yes, he gets poisoned here, so that's why Ariados has successfully. He died anyway to the Aqua Jet, but then Incineroar is poisoned, and that matters. And yeah, so we get Parting Shot here, and it's too late for him to absorb the toxic spikes. Everything that can be poisoned on his team was poisoned. And again, this is a low ladder game, so there's probably ways for our opponent to defeat us anyway. But we got exactly what we were hoping for in terms of the Ariados showcase. You can see Ariados, despite looking like he did nothing the whole time, he lost all his guys and then got poisoned and slowly died. I think some of his switching was because of the threat of you know Ariados on some level. Otherwise, he could have just focused the Incineroar and then he would have been fine. Which maybe he should have done that. Maybe that was the right play, but uh, I don't think there's any way Incineroar can get Gengar out of this one. Yeah, even with the minus whatever attack, yeah, we got the psychic off, and 2v1 with poison Incineroar. We can click pretty much any move we want here, other than obviously psychic and protect. Even those, even if we do nothing, I don't think it can kill us fast enough to not die to poison. So we got the win in the best 2 out of 3. Uh, it didn't feel very clean. I felt like this was a 1,000 ladder opponent. Maybe he didn't make the optimal plays in some of the scenario. So we try and do better, but you can see some of the idea of this team at least. Uh, Even if your opponent gives you the game, you have to have strong enough Pokemon to take it. And so, very cool. The nice 7% left disconnect. So I will have to start the timer to get this win, but I'm pretty confident that we're going to wrap this up. So close these tabs and then get a new one while we wait for this one to end. Even if he comes back and clicks protect, I'm pretty sure we can just like auto move our way to victory in that. And so I've been running Mega Aerodactyl, which is very fun, and you outspeed everything and you click Rock Slide. You beat all the regular Aerodactyls on the ladder because you get the speed boost, and you outspeed the Delphox, which doesn't outspeed regular Aerodactyl. So playing this team without Mega Aerodactyl, I've kind of like lost my crutch of just clicking Rock Slide and or Tailwind before anything else can do anything about it. But Aerodactyl is a gambling mon, and it's usually best not to bring gambling mons to tournament. Although this Ariados is Bright Powder, which is kind of a gambling mon, but it's item clause, and there aren't 6 good items in the game these days, so I kind of get it. And I guess we try out Float Ariados lead. That seems like it would be good into this type of team. We need the Basque Legion in the back, and then last one. Uh, I guess we want Como. I don't really understand when you use the self-destruct Snorlax on this team. As you would kind of guess, there's a bit of a uh, maybe best of one element about self-destruct Snorlax. Perhaps in an open team sheet, you're better off with like a body slam. But I mean, it goes well with the Basque Legion because you kill a guy and then you don't damage your partner and you get boosted last respects. Uh, I can see they saw through the obvious protect in front of this lead, but Ariados just tanked both the hits anyway, so good luck with that. And I think I think we click Dazzling Gleam Rage Pout here. I want to set up the Toxic Spikes to be honest, but yes, we can't afford the possibility that they will go for any shenanigans. And maybe I should have just clicked Psychic into this since it's not Focus Sash, but I think we should still be able to get out of this with what we want. By that I mean not letting our Floette take a Dire Claw. And so we will go for the very obvious Protect again. And Clanging Scales will lower our defense into what is very possibly Iron Head, so I'm not sure I want that. But then again, I don't have any non-fighting moves. So yeah, so we do take the big damage, and once again, the lack of attempting to attack into the thing. Yeah, so he kind of covered both there, but we got what we want out of this. I think we sacked Ariados and half of Como for Sneeze there and half of King Gambit, which I think is a good trade. And I I'd like to think that we don't die to a last respects. I don't think one dead. We're gonna go for a vacuum wave here just to finish off the King Gambit. I guess we maybe shouldn't have done that because we made it two dead. But yeah, he's not any sort of boosting speed. So let's see. I didn't mean to click that. Yeah, 146. So he can't possibly outspeed without some sort of speed boost. So yeah, we can just try and focus down their last Pokemon here. Uh, I'm assuming we'll maybe get Psyshocked, but I don't think that matters. I think it's fine for Como to go down here. Yeah, we get the Moonblast off, which will be resisted, but resisting Floette isn't always the most important. And we got the Sash Basque Legion in the back, which is a guaranteed win, as long as you can get this kind of lead. So, yeah, even with the burn, I'm pretty sure they would have died there. As you see, Floette eats that pretty easily, and Last Respects will do 8 jillion damage. And so we go to game 2 now, and the the Ariados Como Elite I did last time is kind of weak to the Delphox, as you can see by the amount of damage we did. Let's try Snorlax plus Floette, and then we're going to do Basque Legion, and Ariados in the back is much less good, but it's such a hard wall and to sneeze there. You kind of want it, but I think we're gonna leave it at home this time. Yeah, because obviously they were gonna switch up leads here, and I think we can afford to go for a yawn and protect here. They very likely will set up Tailwind, but we're gonna be playing a bit slow this game, so hopefully we can still stall out the Tailwind, especially since that means they won't be attacking with Aerodactyl if they click it here. They did just go for the Rock Slide, so we may be flinching, but yes, I will not be letting Floette take a Dire Claw. And we get the Yawn off. And so now I can see you can do the self-destruct switch to Basque Legion here, which will be very funny. However, against this team, I'm not sure that's the best idea. I think I Yon switch to Como, and then if Sneasler stays in, it will be falling asleep. Yes, as they do Dire Claw that slot. Psych, I'm the one falling asleep, but we make do with those. Uh, hmm. I'm gonna blow up switch to Basque here. Uh, they have unfortunately switched to their own Basque, which is not what we want to see. But we do get the funny move off, and we now can switch into a threat. And yeah, we saw already last time that we were faster, and that Moonblast Okos. So we can just take two KOs here. I'm not sure that's good, but uh, because the Sneezer fell asleep and they didn't take a turn, so actually that is good probably. Uh, this might have worked out for us here. I see the benefit of the Yawn Snorlax here with the self destruct. That's apparently a roll, which is important to know. Because did we get a crit last time? I didn't think so, but 8% is a pretty decent amount of health to live with for a Pokemon that died in one shot last time. But yeah, so we're both asleep here, so it's kind of a battle of who's going to wake up first. Obviously, they are faster. Basque Legion, do you die from Psyshock at 52%? I'd like to believe the answer is no. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think the answer was yes, unfortunately. And so that's going to be the end of game two. What did I take that did so much earlier? Uh, oh, the dual wing beat. I took the dual wing beat, but yeah. So that was maybe a bit of a greedy switch, but you could see the game plan there. It almost worked. If I hadn't gone Dire Claw slept, maybe, but even then, obviously Como waking up there wouldn't have saved me, so I would have had to have done maybe different plays at that point. But let's try Snorlax Ariados. I don't know. I'm kind of hmm. So Ariados, it's been nice knowing you, but we will just be clicking toxic spikes and hoping that yeah, I had a feeling something bad was going to happen here. I could have exploded here if I had predicted the flip turn. That would have been hilarious. But instead, we just go for the crunch, and we get a lot of damage, which is nice. They will have to protect or switch, which means I think I am going to blow up and protect. I kind of expect them to switch. Although they may protect, yes, but if they protect, I can Aqua Jet them next turn. And we get faked out, so I guess, yeah, now I just blow up and Aqua Jet, and I'm guessing Chopple will not save us from 53%. Unfortunately, they brought King Gambit in the back, uh, so this is looking pretty rough. They get the wider buff, which isn't that big a deal because they're gonna outspeed me anyway. But yeah, Floet, hopefully you can just tank a Dire Claw because you're gonna have to. And hmm, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try it this way around. And Floet cannot take a Dire Claw apparently, so we are gonna lose this one. It feels unfortunate. It felt like there was maybe a way I should have been able to get out of that, but yeah, we did not successfully predict our opponent's moves, so you know, we deserve to lose. We got outplayed. But we go again. This is all for learning, and I think I am learning something here. Hopefully, I didn't forfeit that other one. I never saw whether I won or not, but we were in a pretty intense one. I have no idea how long this is going to be, by the way. I'm just kind of playing as long as I have fun with it, which could be a while, but hopefully people like seeing Ariados gameplay. Hopefully I figure out how to play this team correctly. There's some trick room stuff here, which seems like where Snorlax is maybe supposed to come. Obviously, this is Mega Beedrill, which hopefully I can figure out how to not lose to that. That'd be embarrassing. And we're gonna try this version. And I think even with the Mega Beedrill, we still are supposed to bring the Floette. Let's see if he has any. Yeah, he doesn't have Iron Head on that, and he has Poison Jab here, but I think we can dissuade him from locking into that probably. This seems like it should be a good matchup, so if I lose, just know this is a skill issue. I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty sure this team has ways to win this. I just have to figure out if I can click them successfully. This is Yachiberry Dragonite. But yes, you can see by the inner focus that I will not be faking him out. I will. I don't think there's any speed on this Incineroar, so I'm gonna assume his is faster. He has Will-O-Wisp. I think I just fake out the Dragonite and I think I throat chop the Dragonite and I switch to Floette, and we see what he wants to do here because Outrage doesn't target; it could go directly into the Floette, and Earthquake will hurt his own dude, and he doesn't have any way of stopping that. So he would have to extreme speed here to do any sort of damage to Floette, which I think is what we want. And I'm just going to Mega Dazzling Gleam. I should be able to take +1 extreme speed. That maybe I'm overestimating Floette's bulk, but he just killed his own Beedrill. That's what he thought of. Mega Beedrill does not get any more bulk when it Mega Evolves, by the way, so it would also have died to that. He just, said, F it, no need for Beedrill. And yeah, that's what I was talking about, where even if he Earthquakes there, I wasn't too upset about the potential outcome. And, they just forfeited the whole best of 3. They didn't want to come back. They, toaster plays, is that when you throw the toaster in the bathtub there with the Beedrill, or I don't know if that's where they were going with that name, but for the win, Itachi. Is that, I assume that's Itachi Uchiha reference on my ladder. This is Sun, very clearly. It is Sash Typhlosion and not Scarf Typhlosion. I don't know what we're supposed to do about that. I guess we have Thick Fat Snorlax. That seems like a good answer. And we'll lead with the Incineroar. This is not a good matchup for Ariados. We will not be bringing Ariados here. We will be bringing Basculegion. And this isn't really the best matchup for Floette either. So we're going to try the Como, even though there's a few things on here that I'm pretty sure Como would also not like to be fighting. So this is a tough lead, as he can obviously not be faked out on either Pokemon. I will be going for Crunch here. Maybe Yawn is better, and switching because we need damage into this Basculegion. He is Scarf Basculegion, which is maybe something I should have checked before I made my move, but I think, there are things in the back we also want damage on, potentially even the Charizard, and we got this switch correct, so we took no damage there. And I think Protect or Solar Beam is probably coming out here, and then Close Combat into the Snorlax. And he's Mental Herb. Maybe that's supposed to be White Herb. I feel like that's got to be a team sheet error. And we are just going to Self-Destruct and Protect. There's no speed control on this team. That's what I'm noticing. There's String Shot, I guess. That's our only speed control. And Choppleberry, you got me. If no one else got me Choppleberry, you got me. Yes, so he doesn't get his defenses back up. and he doesn't protect the Charizard, and so we got the self-destruct Snorlax to do what we wanted it to do. And I think we just go into Como now. We kept our sass on the Basque Legion, which is very important. And uh, you think he's smart enough to bullet punch the Basque Legion? Because if he's not, this is what we want to do. Yes, so we uh, can't be one hit KO'd because of our sash, and we will counter last respects them, and obviously that crit didn't matter even a little bit. And I think we're in a good spot now. It's 3-on-1, and surely one of our last three Pokemon can defeat this Typhlosion. And I think we just Clang Scales and Aqua Jet because we want to break the sash. And yeah, we take the eruption very easily without the full health, and you get another crit that is entirely unnecessary. And this person is going to play game two, unlike the last person, so hopefully we can figure out, another way out of that, because that felt very precarious. Like, we had to get those turns right, otherwise we would have been blown up and lost immediately. And, like, I want to bring the Floette here, but this is, several things that Floette does not want to fight. I'm going to try leading the Ariados, and I'm going to. I'm just. I guess we'll lead this for Yawn potentially, and Basque Legion and Incineroar, because I feel like Como is actually surprisingly not that good into this matchup, even though Floette is also not that good in this matchup. Yeah, so we are going to be clicking Toxic Spikes and Yawn. And, hopefully both these Pokemon should be able to tank hints from Basque Legion because we are max defense on both of them. And we have a decent amount of. Yeah, Psychic Fangs. I forgot he even had that, but we got the. Toxic Spikes up. So as long as he didn't bring the Venusaur, which he didn't last time, this should be good. And we will just be clicking Struggle Bug now to reduce the special attack of any potential switch-ins. And hopefully there won't be any. We got the Bright Powder dodge. First Bright Powder dodge. I forgot that that's the thing. And we got Encored into Toxic Spikes, which I think is fine. Is this Scarf? Yeah, so we can switch into Incineroar here pretty freely. And I will be going for another Crunch. I thought about blowing up there, but one, I'd blow up my own Incineroar, and two, the Fable could protect, which it was considering going for last time. And does this have protect? Yeah, so we're gonna fake out and Yawn again, and if they spin their protects, then we're going to blow up next turn. Which I'm kind of seeing the value in the self-destruct Snorlax now. I'm really enjoying it. We do get Encored into Fake Out, but I wanted to switch out anyways. We're doing the funny. We're clicking the funny button, and self-destruct Snorlax, if you didn't know, in Generation 4 is obtained via the Pokewalker, and I happen to have the. It's a special event only route, and I happen to have some Munchlax from that route still saved up. So I will be bringing one of those as a representative of self-destruct Snorlax, hopefully. And so if I end up using this team, that's my plan. And look at this. Look at this team. It's so fun and good. He's poisoned now. And yeah, I can just click. I can just click Last Respects and Throat Chop, and he can't deal with both. Yeah, I thought about protecting there because it seemed pretty likely he would go into that, but I thought maybe it would be better to take both KOs here because now he only has one Pokemon left and Toxic Spikes are up. So hopefully, yes, we can still easily clean up this. Unfortunately, Typhlosion has looked not very good here, but that's why you don't run Hisuian Typhlosion, and yeah, we got the Ariados win. So I felt like this was a good showcase. I'd almost leave it here, but I'm having so much fun. I want to play one more battle, and again, I'm playing this to learn, not just for the content. So this will be maybe our last best of three, and then I'll probably play some more, maybe off camera. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you see, you know, the toxic spikes has been real handy in this, and also the like I tanked those psychic fangs, which allowed my other Pokemon to do stuff. So, uh, I think maybe you can appreciate the idea of Ariados, even if I didn't fully bring out its full potential in this, because this is not the version of the team I'm used to playing. But you can swap. Ariados has like six or seven. I did not do that on purpose, I swear. But it has literally like six or seven viable options in these slots, especially if you're playing closed team sheet. So there's no reason you can like not uh, customize it to help your team however you want. And uh, I really don't know what to do in this lead situation, but we're gonna try the Snorlax. Has got the Chople, and you always bring the Basque. It's the only way out of this. I felt like I needed one of the Como or the Floette, but I wasn't sure which one was the correct one. So that was, this might not have been the right six Pokemon, but I think we can just Rage Powder and Yawn. We do get faked out, which is a bit unfortunate, but there are worse things than your Snorlax getting faked out. And yeah, I'm gonna set up Toxic Spikes and just self-destruct here and see how that play works. So like I said, I didn't really form a great game plan for this turn one or for this game one. So if I can just get this explosion off, surely they have to be a little worried about. Yeah, so the Choppleberry, right? We can take this with the Choppleberry. We cannot. We cannot take it with the Choppleberry. Oh, unnerve. We can't eat the Choppleberry. We've been unnerved. That's the type of thing you need to learn at 1,000 on the ladder instead of in tournament having that happen to you. Which I would like to say that because it just happened, I won't die like that in tournament. But we all know that's probably not true. And yeah, I'm gonna fake out and last respects, I guess. Uh, yeah, dual protect there made sense from him, unfortunately. But yeah, we will now uh, Flare Blitz and Aqua Jet. This Sneasel Aerodactyl is a pretty common lead, so I need to come up with a better way of dealing it. Obviously, the one I just tried didn't work, and I'm sure, because this is such a common lead, I'm sure there's something on this team that's meant to handle this. But yeah, obviously, I did not do it correctly for game one. Uh, we do die to dual wing. Critical. I was gonna say I wouldn't think dual wing meat could do that much to Basque Legion, but again, the game was lost there. We only would have gained some insight into what he had in the back. Uh, hmm. I think we go Incineroar plus uh, Basque Legion this time. We'll see. Hopefully that works out a little better. And then I think we do need the Floette and Ariados, I guess. This the wider makes this Incineroar a little, or makes this Sneasler a little harder than I would have hoped because of I can't intimidate it or string shot it on turn one, and now it's super fast. But I can go for fake out plus wave crash. Hopefully that does something. Uh, we have been intimidated at least, so yeah, that means we're not getting rock slid or anything. And we will switch to Ariados and protect, and that should maybe open us up to switch Incineroar back in next turn. And at least we can threaten some various plays. Uh, See, look at how much Ariados takes from the close combat. That that's what makes it so much more valuable than a lot of other redirectors because we also aren't that worried about Dire Claw, so we can switch it on both. Now is a good time to get up the Toxic Spikes, I think. I don't think he's going to be switching out the Sneasler anytime soon, and if he does, I want that to happen. And yeah, so unfortunately, the Aerodactyl does come in here, so the spikes might be getting absorbed. But thanks to the Intimidate, we do live. We do live the Flare Blitz, which is nice. And unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of value left in our friend Ariados. We're probably just getting rock slid here, but we can fake out throat chop. Yeah. So we sacrifice the Ariados, but the Tailwind doesn't really matter that much. He already was going to be faster than most of my stuff. And I think I'd bring out Floette here because, again, we're getting outsped either way, so we're going to have to tank these hits. And now's a good time to go for the Dazzling Gleam. So no matter what slot he switches in, uh, he won't he won't be able to dodge some significant damage if he tries to go into the Sneasler. And with the Intimidates, we can tank these a little better. He does get the parting shot off, which is a little unfortunate because the Sneasler now is not 2-hit KO'd by the Dazzling Gleam, but we repositioned and we've got at least some amount of threat going on now. And I think we just because we can't be faked out on Basque Legion, which is always important, and they do have Protect on this, so we have not seen their last Pokemon, and I think I want to Wave Crash the Incineroar, even though it's possible the Sneaser's the bigger threat. We do tank this nicely. We're back to where we were. And let's see if we die to recoil here. If we shoot from 30, and they only have one turn left of Tailwind, which doesn't matter a whole lot. And also, they don't have any switches left, which means they can't reset their attack drops, which is very important. And so we will just sack the Basque Legion here, I think. This is a bit of a tough endgame. I think I fake out and swap to Floette, maybe? I don't know if this was right. They did fake out, they did protect the Sneasler, which means I did get that aspect of it correct. And so now I'm threatening a switch to Basque Legion in either of these slots. And they are -2 attack. I think I can just tank. I think I can just tank the Dire Claw, hopefully, and hopefully I outspeed. Yeah, so we dealt with the Sneasler there, which is important, and hopefully that wasn't a speed tie. Hopefully I'm just faster. Uh, let's see. We could Aqua Jet here, I assume, if Basque Legion gets an attack off. Yeah, so we are just the faster one, and we did win game 2, so there's something there. And Ariados came to that one, and as you can see, we were able to pull it out in the end. And I'm not sure. We're going to try Floette Ariados. We haven't done that one yet, I think. And Basque Legion and Incineroar definitely seem like they need to be the other two. I don't want to bring Como into opposing Floette. That seems obvious. And the self-destruct Aegis or Snorlax kind of seems suspicious into some of these things. Alright, we're going to Mega Evolve and Protect here, and we are going to click String Shot. I don't know what he's going to do, but I suspect this isn't the position he wants to be in, so he's going to maybe switch, or he's going to. I mean, if he doesn't switch, I think that's good for me. Yeah, so we catch the Aerodactyl on the switch here, unless he fakes out the Ariados, which would be a bit of a brave play. But he just flare blitzes the Ariados. He's a real hater. Um, that does. Let's see. That opens up either the Basculegion or the Incineroar. I think the correct play is Incineroar here, and I think we predict the protect, and we just Moonblast and uh, hmm, I want a parting shot, but it won't work if he dies to Moonblast, and I don't know how much Moonblast does. I think I think we Moonblast parting shot here. No, he just died. So I wanted to switch back to Basculegion there, to be honest, but I wasn't. I've never used Mega Floette before, so I had no concept if Incineroar could die from 72 to that. That didn't seem possible, but um, this is a bit of an obvious play, but we're kind of in a weird spot, so I'm gonna try going for it anyways. Uh, I assume that's a pretty offensively invested Incineroar to be able to KO Ariados, so maybe I should have known that it wouldn't be able to tank the Moonblast. All right, so I think we Psychic switched to Incineroar, and hopefully, oh, I forgot he still has the. Oh, we baited it. He thought the Incineroar was going to come in that other slot. So as long as we don't Rock Slide flinch here, the Sneasler is by far the biggest issue, and so this is looking kind of good now, especially since we got the Fake Out in, uh, which means he should have some amount of trouble setting up the Tailwind here. He does just double protect, which is understandable. Uh, we might actually be in some trouble here because he can Tailwind and kill the Floette. I guess I protect and just Flare Blitz into his Floette. Uh, hopefully yeah, Dazzling Gleam is not as strong as Moonblast, so we at least get some nice chip in. Unfortunately now, I don't think there's anything we can do. Uh, Maybe I should have parting shot there. I don't know, but we needed that damage, and we already saw how much Aqua Jet does to the Floette, so I don't think there's any way out of this, unfortunately. But I think I showed off the general concepts of the team pretty good. I guess I go for protect here to stall out the Tailwind a bit, and at least make him, consider Light of Ruin, which, I mean, obviously he can afford to go for that here, but critical hit. With a critical hit, we can win. If he protects, he will stall out his own Tailwind. We did not get a crit. We needed, you can see we would have beat the Aerodactyl one-on-one if we could have got rid of the Floette, but unfortunately, we weren't quite able to pull that off. If we had got the Toxic Spikes up with the Ariados, we would have had to do that before the Sneasler absorbed them, of course, but you could see how the Toxic Spikes matter. Uh, we'll do one more. We can't end on that. Hopefully people will still click on an Ariados video if it's like an hour long or however this is. I have no concept, honestly. I've just been in these games clicking. Um, Maybe this has only been 30 minutes for all I know, but uh, win or lose, this is going to be the last one. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you're having fun with champions, and I hope you believe in Ariados. So my Ariados is an offensive Ariados. I'm running Poison Jab, which is great for these Meganiums, but Struggle Bug will have to do. And I think Como is correct here, and I assume Incineroar, and you always want Basculegion. It's like the best thing in the game, and I think Floette. This feels like a tough matchup. I don't I don't know what to say about this team after using it. It feels obvious that it's not a team I made. Like the correct choices here aren't clear to me. I'm sure when they made the team, Excadrill Tyranitar isn't that crazy. It's a known thing, so I'm sure there's answers on this team. It's just a matter of learning it, and I don't know. Again, I got 3 days to figure out whether I want to bring this, whether I want to change some of the moves and stuff, or whether I completely pivot to a third team that I also haven't practiced at all. Uh, hmm. Yeah, I actually lose to Meganium here, which is kind of embarrassing. So I guess we protect Flare Blitz. He does protect the. He double protects. Yeah, so this does not go well. Uh, uh, Como, I feel like you have to switch, but I don't know what can save you. So I guess Floette, I believe in you. See, that was a crit, and we're not even Mega Flood. Okay, so look. Incineroar, this is like max attack Adamant Incineroar, so we did successfully deal with Meganium, even though, okay, so they weren't running Earth Power, which is good to know. And, there are leftovers on this, which I guess makes sense because they're not running Acrobatics. And I think we can go back. Oh, so I do this sometimes where uh, I, because it's doubles, I click switch with the wrong Mon. And if you do that on the second one, you're just screwed and your turn's over. But luckily I did it on the first one, so I was able to catch that. We do successfully not take the flying attack on Como on the switch in. And I'm hoping now with the Intimidate in the back, we can uh, we can play this correctly, and we will just go for the fighting move into Tyranitar, even though that's a bit predictable. But hopefully they white herb. There's there's no there's no Zoroark on this team, so I think it was worth sacking the Incineroar there, depending on what his last guy is. I think that was the correct play. And I think we'll go with Floette, even though, yeah, so as long as we can get Basculegion in with the sand down so we aren't taking any chip damage and breaking our sash, yeah, we can 1v1 the this guy who's the bigger threat. And yeah, so now if he wants to set the Tailwind back up again, he can't protect this guy, so that should, hopefully we can just Dazzling Clanging Scales, and like I said, as long as I get rid of the Talon Flame, which the Dazzling Gleam doesn't, but the Clanging Scales does, we should be able to handle this. Unless yeah, we took out 3 of his mons already, so there's no way he can 3v1 because he needs the Sandstorm to take out the Basculegion in the back. So we were successfully able to navigate the very scary Meganium turn 1, and let's see if we can win another game before we lose 2. Alright, so we definitely need to lead Incineroar, that's what I've noticed here. And I think we bring Ariados this time. I think Ariados is good in this matchup, theoretically. And we definitely need the Como. And once again, I think I'm going to bring the Basculegion, even though it was a bit dicey. It did guarantee us the win there. It's possible the Floette is the correct bring in this scenario. Depending on the end game we end up in, we might find ourselves wishing we had that instead of the Como. But this is definitely the last set. I'm kind of, this team definitely takes focus to play, which most good teams do, and all bad teams do, unless you just want to lose. But I'm if we win this one, I'll be happy with this session for now. I'll be happy with this video, I think. And yeah, look, we've got what I would say is the ideal lead for this matchup. And I'm just going to fake out and go for the toxic spikes. And yes, I'm not that worried about what this will do, other than maybe burn Ariados, but I'm not even a physical attacker Ariados unlike my other Ariados. Yeah, so we get about a free toxic spikes there, and I can now fake out and struggle bug because there's no earth power on this. Unfortunately, we have lost our dear soldier Ariados, but we got the T spikes up, and I hope that will matter. So we can now flare blitz and last respects, and they can't stop both of these. So hopefully, the Meganium is a big threat to this team. So as long as Incineroar doesn't die before it dies, that should be the win condition we need. Although yeah, we will be taking pretty much all of Basque Legion's health here, which is bad, into the Sandstorm. And we got the burn there, which I don't know if it's better or worse that Meganium died this turn instead of being at 2%. But we do have at least one switch. There's no Shadow Sneak on this. He didn't bring the sand at all, actually. This worked out great, I think. This is a special attacking one. So I think we just throat chop and protect here. And I don't know. I want to be able to intimidate the Talonflame, but I don't think that's going to be necessary. Yeah, Incineroar I knew would never die to a Shadow Ball from 30. He's not the greatest Pokemon of all time if he had to worry about something like that. So I think we can now Parting Shot in case he King Shields, and we've broken that, so we can now Aqua Jet here. And he could protect here, but he then risks a last respects into this slot, so it's not a free play. And it does look like he's maybe gotten us here, but by not taking out the Basque Legion, we definitely still win. And we can just Clanging Scales and Aqua Jet, and I think surely we 1v1 this, because he'd have to stay in attack for me. He had to kill the Basque Legion. So we do 49 there, and the defense drops don't matter because he's a special attacking one. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Como does not win this in game, but because he has a Citrus Berry, I'm afraid we actually cannot KO him from this range. But we'll see how much he can do back to us. We literally healed him there, which is concerning. We do have the leftovers though, so every time he King Shields, we at least we can negate how much damage we're taking. And we can go for our own protect and get even more health back. And hopefully between all that we will gain enough that... see, he wide guards blocking the Clanging Scales, but that does give us more health back. And technically he can do that forever, but we'll see, does he want to play that game? As we do take, the 43... And I will click one more here just in case, he tries to be cheeky. And this is actually a bad in-game for us because we can't do anything about... yeah, he can just PP stall us forever. But we do kind of PP stall him back a little bit. I have to get all these turns right, which seems dangerous. Let's try Clanging Scales here. Alright, so this is real bad now. Now we only have one. But if we can get it on the right turn, yeah, Nope, I don't think so. And let's see. I feel like he's gonna attack here. We still have five protects. We definitely lose this in game unless we can frustrate him enough into choking somehow. Maybe I should have read the protect on the Talonflame before. It seemed pretty obvious, and I could have last respected into here. I underestimated our ability to KO a Aegis Slash that had no recovery. As yes, he can just do this forever, and you know, we will have to weave in some protects appropriately timed. We have to take every single flash cannon and shadow ball, which seems unlikely, but so luckily we still have game three. But unfortunately, because he's a steel type, he could stall forever even with the toxic spikes up. I think I got a little too confident there that I could beat Talonflame plus Aegis Slash in the end game. I think I should have been able to, but I wasn't able to correctly identify which of the what order I could sack things and deal damage. I thought once I broke the Gale Wings on the Talonflame that I was fine, but that turned out to not be the case. So like I said, the Como is maybe incorrect there, even though Flood is weak to Flash Cannon. I think it would have taken those better. And let's try that again. I think I think we can maybe be okay with this. All right, so he's brought the Tyranitar this time. It is White Herb Tyranitar, annoyingly enough. And I'm going to just fake out and set these Toxic Spikes back up again. Depending on what he brought in the back, they might do literally nothing, but uh, that's all we really need Ariados for, given what he's shown so far. Matcha Gotcha does almost nothing. The Sand does just as much, if not more. And we do, as we've seen, need the Incineroar. So I'm going to keep it for the Meganium potentially, and we skillfully dodge the Rock Slide, which is part of Rock Slide. If you get the million flinches, you also have to pay the penalty of the 1,000,000 misses. Even though the flinch chance is a little bit higher than the miss chance, so you do get 3,000,000 flinches. But yes, you never have to apologize for dodging Rock Slide. It's actually their fault for clicking Rock Slide, and we can click the Struggle Bug some more, I think, or I think we want to Dazzling Gleam and String Shot. I feel a switch is likely, or yes. So the Age Slash comes in, which honestly the Struggle Bug might have been better, but if we're faster after the String Shot, we can Struggle Bug it next turn, which is still something. And what we are 60 speed, so unless he's running absolute max speed Age Slash, I think we should be outspeeding it. And I am just going to. We saw before we need the damage on the Aegis Slash, so I'm going to click the Dazzling Gleam and Struggle Bug. He does get the health back, but yeah, we got the Struggle Bug off before we take the Flash Cannon, so that should help a lot. Yeah, we would have maybe died to that otherwise, as you can see, but he did have to sack the entire Sinistra to get that off. So you can see all the moves on Ariados coming in with his guys are getting poisoned, and we will just click Protect here and go for the Struggle Bug yet again. Obviously, there's a pretty good chance we'll be dying to Tyranitar here. He goes for Wide Guard, which is funny because it doesn't put him into the other form again. But I think we can just Moonblast here and go for the Rage Powder so that we have no chance of dying to the if he goes for anything cheeky here, Floette will not be taking it, And he did try to go for something cheeky here, and all he did was take more poison damage. And yeah, I think we can just go into Incineroar now, and we can click Moonblast and uh, Flare Blitz, and uh, even with the -1 attack, I think this is a good trade for us. Uh, you can see the Meganium almost completely died. We can just click Protect, and he will die to the poison that Ariados set up. So you can see kind of uh, even playing it maybe not correctly how the Ariados adds to the team and how you're supposed to win but slowly over time with the toxic spikes. And they don't mega the Meganium for some reason, which is funny. And even at -1 attack, yeah, this is again max adamant Incineroar, and so even in shield form, uh, yeah, we won. So that's gonna be the end of the video. I will be spreading Ariados propaganda for the foreseeable future. Uh, there are other Pokemon and champions I'd like to use. Don't worry, this won't be a Ariados only channel probably, but uh, I think for now it's gonna wrap things up. Next time you hear from me will probably be after the Grand Champions Festival, so maybe I'll talk about how that went. And I think there's a pretty good chance I will be bringing this team. So, this is Dynamo22 signing off. See you later.